I like to go on bicycle trips, too. Do you?
And miniature golf. Do you like that?
Yeah, and weenie roasts and square dances.
And baseball games and taffy pull. I think they're swell.
Say, you like to do lots of things, don't you?
Modern dating promises more options than ever, yet somehow feels emptier than before. And Grandma might have known exactly why. Before we dive in, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments which old-fashioned dating rule you think modern romance needs the most right now. Your answer might surprise more people than you expect. Before dating became something you scrolled through, it was something you stepped into carefully. Grandma didn't see where things went. Courtship had direction. It began with intention, moved with restraint, and carried expectations that were understood long before the first date ever happened. One of the most important unspoken rules was that you didn't court someone unless you were serious. Time was valuable, reputations mattered, and emotions weren't treated casually. A man didn't ask a woman out just because he was bored, lonely, or curious. And a woman didn't accept attention unless she believed it had potential. Courtship wasn't entertainment. It was a test of character. Dates weren't private experiments. They were visible. Walks, church socials, community events, and family gatherings were common meeting places. Being seen together meant something. It signaled interest, not just to the couple, but to the community around them. That visibility kept behavior respectful and intentions honest. There was no hiding behind anonymity. Reputation was everything. Grandma understood that how she behaved today shaped how she would be treated tomorrow. Flirting too freely, being careless with affection, or entertaining too many suitors could damage trust, not just with others, but within herself. Self-respect wasn't spoken about often, but it guided every choice. Courtship also moved slowly by design. People learned about each other through conversation, shared tasks, and observation over time. How someone treated elders, handled money, worked under pressure, or spoke when angry mattered more than charm or appearance. Love wasn't rushed because life wasn't forgiving to rushed decisions. Physical boundaries were clear. Affection existed, but it was restrained. This wasn't about repression. It was about protection. Emotional attachment without commitment was considered dangerous. Grandma knew that feelings could grow faster than trust, and once entangled, they were hard to undo. Another forgotten rule was consistency. If someone was interested, they showed it through effort and reliability. Letters arrived when promised. Visits were planned. Words matched actions. Mixed signals weren't romantic. They were warnings. Grandma didn't chase uncertainty. She paid attention. Families played a role too. Parents and relatives weren't obstacles. They were safeguards. Their presence wasn't meant to interfere, but to observe and guide. Courtship wasn't isolated. It was woven into family life, which made intentions harder to fake. Most importantly, dating always pointed toward a future. Marriage wasn't assumed, but it was the understood goal. If a relationship wasn't moving in that direction, it was reevaluated. Ending something early was considered kinder than dragging it out without purpose. In Grandma's world, romance wasn't casual because consequences were real. Hearts broke harder. reputations lasted longer, and mistakes followed people for years, not days. Intentional courtship didn't remove romance, it gave it weight. And in a time where dating often feels endless and uncertain, these forgotten rules remind us that clarity, patience, and purpose once made love something worth waiting for. In Grandma's time, respect wasn't something you claimed. It was something you demonstrated. There were no long conversations about intentions or vibes. People showed who they were through behavior, consistency, and restraint. Courtship came with rules, and those rules existed to protect dignity on both sides. For men, respect began with effort. Asking a woman out wasn't casual or impulsive. It required courage, planning, and accountability. A man showed seriousness by choosing appropriate settings, arriving on time, and behaving in a way that reflected well on both himself and the woman he was courting. Sloppiness, crude jokes, or careless speech were immediate red flags. Grandma believed that how a man treated her in public was a preview of how he would treat her in private. Men were also expected to lead without overpowering. They paid attention, listened closely, and made decisions with consideration rather than dominance. Pushing boundaries wasn't romantic. It was disrespectful. If a man truly cared, he protected a woman's reputation as carefully as his own. Women showed respect differently, but no less intentionally. Grandma understood that modesty wasn't about hiding. It was about signaling self-worth. Behavior, speech, and presence communicated values long before words did. Accepting attention came with responsibility. Entertaining multiple suitors without clarity was discouraged, not because women lacked freedom, but because confusion damaged trust. Boundaries were not negotiated in the moment. They were understood in advance. This made interactions safer and clearer. No one pretended not to know the rules. When someone crossed a line, it was obvious and meaningful. Conversation mattered deeply. Respect showed in how people spoke to one another. Listening without interrupting, speaking thoughtfully, and avoiding gossip were signs of maturity. Words carried weight because they traveled fast in small communities. What you said about someone else often said more about you. Time was also treated as a form of respect. Showing up when promised, writing back promptly, and following through on plans demonstrated seriousness. Excuses were rare, and skepticism was healthy. Grandma didn't romanticize inconsistency. If someone cared, they made time, even when life was difficult. Public behavior was especially important. There was a belief that love should be honorable when witnessed by others. Laughing together, walking side by side, and simple gestures carried more meaning than secrecy ever could. Hidden relationships raised questions. Open ones built trust. Respect also meant patience. Feelings were allowed to grow, but not to run ahead of commitment. Emotional pressure was considered unfair. Grandma knew that rushing intimacy often created confusion instead of closeness. Letting affection unfold slowly allowed character to reveal itself. What's striking about these rules is that they protected both people. Men were expected to be dependable. Women were expected to be discerning. Respect wasn't about control, it was about clarity. In a world before endless choice and instant connection, these expectations created stability. They filtered out those who weren't serious and made room for those who were. And while modern dating often treats boundaries as obstacles, Grandma knew something we've forgotten. Respect isn't restrictive. It's what makes love possible in the first place. In Grandma's world, romance wasn't rushed. It unfolded quietly, almost invisibly, through time, presence, and shared moments. There was no pressure to define everything immediately, no expectation that sparks had to fly on the first meeting. Love wasn't something you chased. It was something you allowed to grow. Courtship often began with simple, repeated interactions. A conversation after church, a walk home from a community gathering, a letter written carefully and read more than once. These moments didn't overwhelm the heart. They introduced familiarity. And familiarity, over time, became trust. Patience was the foundation. Grandma understood that feelings develop in layers. Excitement could be misleading, but steady interest revealed character. People watched how others behaved, not just on good days, but on ordinary ones. Did they show up consistently? Did their words stay the same over time? Were they kind when nothing was being gained? Consistency mattered more than intensity. Grand romantic gestures were rare. What mattered was reliability. The person who came when promised, listened attentively, and returned week after week without fading away. Love wasn't proven through drama. It was proven through presence. Restraint played a powerful role. Physical affection existed, but it didn't lead the relationship. Emotional closeness wasn't rushed either. Grandma knew that intimacy without understanding could bind people together for the wrong reasons. By holding back, couples allowed admiration and respect to develop first. This restraint wasn't coldness, it was protection. It created space to observe how someone handled disappointment, stress, or disagreement. In silence and waiting, people revealed who they truly were. Romance also grew through shared effort. Couples worked together, helped family members, attended events, and participated in daily life side by side. Love wasn't built in isolation. It was shaped in real-world situations where values became visible. Letters played a special role. Writing required thought. There was no deleting, no editing after sending. Each word mattered. A letter wasn't instant reassurance. It was something to hold on to, reread, and treasure. Waiting for a reply taught patience and emotional control. Because romance moved slowly, choices carried weight. Deciding to deepen a relationship wasn't impulsive. It came after observation, reflection, and often advice from trusted elders. Commitment wasn't assumed. It was earned. What emerged from this slow pace was depth. Couples entered relationships with a sense of gravity. They knew what they were choosing and what they were giving up. Love wasn't limitless, and that made it precious. In today's world, speed often replaces meaning. Instant connection feels powerful, but it fades just as quickly. Grandma's generation understood something different. Love that grows slowly has roots. And roots, once formed, don't disappear at the first sign of trouble. In Grandma's time, choosing a partner wasn't about finding someone who made you feel good right now. It was about finding someone you could rely on when life stopped being kind. Romance mattered, but it was never the only factor. Love was expected to last longer than youth, beauty, or excitement. One of the first things people looked for was stability. Not wealth, reliability. Could this person work consistently? Did they handle responsibility without complaint? Were they steady when things went wrong? Grandma knew that charm fades, but dependability keeps a household standing. Values came next. Shared beliefs about money, family, faith, and duty weren't optional. They were essential. Couples didn't assume differences would work themselves out. They talked, observed, and listened carefully. Disagreements weren't ignored. They were examined. How someone treated their parents mattered deeply. It revealed gratitude, patience, and respect, qualities that would one day shape how they treated a spouse. So did how they spoke about former relationships, neighbors, or co-workers. Character showed in everyday behavior, not declarations of love. Marriage was seen as a partnership, not a performance. Roles were discussed openly. Responsibilities were understood. Life would require cooperation, raising children, managing money, caring for elders, surviving illness or hardship. No one entered that commitment lightly. Courtship allowed time to witness these traits. People paid attention to how their partner handled pressure, disappointment, and sacrifice. Did they avoid difficulty or face it? Did they blame others or take responsibility? These answers mattered far more than fleeting happiness. Commitment also meant choosing someone who would stay. Loyalty wasn't assumed. It was demonstrated through actions over time. People noticed whether someone ran from conflict or worked through it. Grandma believed that storms revealed the strength of a bond, not sunshine. Family and community again played a role. Elders offered guidance, not to control choices, but to protect futures. Marriage wasn't just two people. It was the joining of families and responsibilities. That awareness created accountability. There was also an understanding that love would change. It wouldn't always feel the same. Passion would soften, routines would form, and hardship would arrive. But love wasn't defined by constant excitement. It was defined by shared effort. This mindset didn't make relationships perfect. It made them resilient. Couples entered marriage with realistic expectations, knowing that commitment required work, and believing that work was worthwhile. Modern dating often prioritizes how someone makes us feel in the moment. Grandma's generation prioritized who someone would be when moments passed. And in a world where everything feels temporary, that long view of love may be one of the most valuable lessons we've forgotten. These dating rules may feel old-fashioned, even unfamiliar, but they were never about limiting love. They were about protecting it. Before apps, algorithms, and endless options, romance carried weight. Choices mattered. People moved carefully because hearts, reputations, and futures were at stake. Grandma didn't date for attention, distraction, or validation. She dated with purpose. In slowing things down, setting boundaries, and choosing carefully, her generation built relationships meant to last through hardship, not just happiness. And while the world has changed, human nature hasn't. If modern dating feels rushed, confusing, or disconnected, these forgotten rules offer something rare today: clarity. Love doesn't have to be instant to be real. Sometimes the strongest relationships are the ones that grow quietly, with patience, intention, and care. If you found these lessons meaningful, give this video a like, share it with someone who's tired of modern dating, and subscribe for more forgotten wisdom from the past. Thanks for watching, and remember, real romance was never meant to be rushed.